I didn't think this concept was like that mind blowing because I just grew up with it, but that wasn't until I saw this book, The Third Door, and I haven't read it. I'm not gonna read it, but I saw someone talking about it, and they basically said it's like, well, you have the main entrance and the main exit, but there's always a back way in. I'm like, really? Like, no crap. Like, are you kidding? But like, apparently it's a national bestseller, so not a lot of people understand this, and it's just one of the things I'm grateful to my parents for how I was raised is they never took no. Like, I'll give you a really good example, and to set the stage for this, the elementary school I went to as a kid were assholes. Every single day, they would send me to the principal's office because I wanted to wear shorts during the winter, and they thought I had to wear jeans. I don't like wearing jeans. I would get really hot and overheated, and I don't know what it is, but I would feel like little bugs were biting the back of my skin, and it distracted me from my work. I don't know why I had that, but that's what happened when I got too hot, and it still happens to this day if I get too hot. But they didn't give a crap, and they said, well, you have to wear jeans. And I'm like, this is stupid. Like, I actually like going outside in the cold. I go outside in flip-flops in the winter. People are like, aren't you cold? I'm like, no. They just go numb. I mean, that's just me, I'm weird. But like, I take ice baths. But anyways, we had this long thing where for months, I would literally, at least 2 months, I think it was November and December, I would literally go to school, and the first thing the teacher would do would send me to the principal's office for an hour, take me out of my classes to send me to the principal's office for an hour to discipline me for not wearing jeans. This is the Page School, like the Page Elementary School by Dr. Who was it? I can't remember my principal's name, but he was an asshole. Anyways, my parents get around this, and they had my doctor write me a note, and I read that. Mrs. Young has sought medical evaluation for her son Jason. After a recent episode of overheating and dizziness at school, Jason experienced thermal dysregulation, which inhibits appropriate physiological responses to temperature change. In response to cold, Jason often overheats, resulting in response to cold, Jason often overheats, resulting in excessive sweating and hyperventilation. This puts Jason at risk for dehydration and dangerous electrolyte imbalance. Therefore, special attention must be given to choosing the correct clothing for the temperature and activities Jason will participate in. I have reviewed various adjustments to Mrs. Young can make in Jason's clothing based on daily climate. I advise Jason wear clothing that Mrs. Young deems appropriate for all indoor and outdoor activities Jason will be participating in at school so as to assure his health and well-being. If I can be of any further assistance, feel free to contact me. Yeah, medical note. That's just how I grew up. Like, my parents, if you just, like, I embody that. Like, you tell me you can't do something or that you won't do something, it doesn't mean you can't or you won't. It means you don't want to. When my guidance counselors told me I couldn't skip grades in high school or I couldn't take the classes I want to take, it didn't mean I couldn't. It means you just haven't been motivated enough to do this for me, so I need to work on that. And what did I do? I went to the superintendent of my high school and I got him to override me and sign a paper to allow me to take the classes I want to take. Because I impressed him, I talked to him, he's like, wow, so you want to skip some grades and take more challenging classes because you're not being challenged in class. I'm like, yeah. It's like, that's amazing, I love your initiative. He signed some stuff, I shoved that in guidance's face. And I mean, during this whole thing, it took me a little while to learn how to do this while actually not having the people you're going over the heads of hate you, because you still need to have like a working relationship, or at least have them not actively try to sabotage you when you do this. But yeah, people will tell you no all the time. You can't do this, we can't do that, I don't know, your order's too small for this, or like, this is how we do it, or, oh my god, I hate this one. It's our policy. Well, it's my policy not to give a crap about your policy. So where does that leave us? Like when you contact a company and they're like, oh, we can't do that. It's against our policy. You wrote your damn policy. Like, you can change it. And you just need to talk to someone high enough up that will see it your way. When you call up on the phone, like when I was selling on eBay, one of the best tricks I can give you is if you call up and say you want to get some negative feedback taken down, or the buyer's trying to do a return even though you sent them the actual item they want, but they just don't need it anymore, or any of 100 things that they can do. And eBay is like, oh, because you talk to the actual person, like, oh, we can't help you with that. The buyer's actually the buyer's actually in the right. Guess what you do? You call up again and you talk to a different person, because eventually one of them's going to see it your way, and then you get what you want. Like, they don't know how many times you called up. For most things, for credit card charges, you're like, hey man, can I get this credit card charge taken down? They're like, oh, that's not possible. You call up again. Hey, miss, can I get this credit card taken down? One of them usually says yes. Like, I did this, I'm selling on Amazon right now. So I had some issue with my account and like passwords and stuff, and one of them's like, oh, I'm sorry, you're just gonna have to like shut down your account and start a new one. I'm like, I spent hours, literally days of my life getting through your verification process. I'm not doing this again. I hung up on her. I called back another dude, and I had my account up and running in 10 minutes. Like, the simple fact is, they're people. Like, you can call them up again and keep going through, and eventually you find one. So there's always another way around almost anything. And I grew up always knowing that you could just look for these other alternatives to get what you want. But apparently, due to Mr. Book being on the national bestseller list, not a lot of people know that. And those are just two examples I can think, well, three examples I can think of. But I don't know, don't lack creativity and go for what you want. Like, I don't know, if you're at a restaurant, like, well, that's not on the menu. Well, you have sweet potatoes, because I see them on here, and I want my sweet potato fries. Or like, I don't know, you just make up what you want. Or, I was at Nathaniel Hall in Boston, and there's this giant steak with like a giant tomahawk steak or something, and I just pointed out, I'm like, I want that. And he's like, I'm sorry, but like, that's meant for like 3 people. Like, you just get a section. And I'm like, I don't care what the cost is right now. I want that whole thing. And yes, I was splurging on myself, but you can get what you want if you demand it. Don't be dicks and realize that certain people can't give you what you want no matter how hard you demand it. Like, my guidance counselor, they could have given me what I wanted based off of my demands, but they didn't want to. So I went to the superintendent and I got him to do it because he outranks them. So, I mean, don't be a Karen about this. Don't throw temper tantrums at people and don't yell. Like, you can talk to them logically and respectfully, and that will go infinitely farther than demanding it. But, like, literally just persistence. If you want something, then go do it. And yeah, I mean, Third Door. That's a really good story. Has it? Hasn't been long enough for me to tell that story, but yeah, get what you want. And when people tell you it's not possible, just say, yes, it is. You just can't think of a way to make it happen. Like, I don't know. Do people tell Trump it's not possible? Like, not to get political, but I read his book, Art of the Deal. It's freaking brilliant. Like, you don't tell him, hey, it's not possible to put this land deal together. He figures it out. Like, he makes it happen through sheer determination of will, which is incredibly impressive. But it's not impossible. It's just not possible for you. is what most people mean when they say, I can't, or I won't, or it can't happen. Because if you had enough money, time, and willpower, you could make it happen. So always think about that when you do stuff. The restaurant's not booked, it's just booked to you. If you really wanted to seat at that restaurant and that restaurant really wanted to have you there, then they would make room for you. I don't know, just like any episode in the first season of Suits where someone does something. There's that one scene where he's at like the DMV or something, and the lady's like, that's going to take 4 to 5 business days to get you this form. And, so Suits is a lawyer TV show that's actually pretty decent, at least the first couple episodes of the first season, which is all I saw, because it gets way too drama for me. But he shows up to this government office to get a form, and the lady's like, it's going to take 4 to 5 business days. And he's like, I need it now. And she's like, well, it's going to take 4 to 5 business days. He's like, you know what I'm going to do in those 4 to 5 business days? I'm going to hire a private investigator to look into your life and find up all the dirt and everything that you've ever done wrong. And she just looks at him like, what? He's like, yeah, I want it done now. And that's an example of how to do it. You can be nicer depending on what the circumstance allows for, but normally if you just tell people that you want something done, a lot of people just do what they're told without thinking. And if you can do it nice enough that they don't put up their their defenses, or they just don't shut down when you talk to them, or if you say it with enough confidence, they'll most likely do it. Like, I don't know, go sneak into a gym, like the most expensive gym in your area. Go sneak into there and just look confident. I love the line from Green Lights when Matthew McConaughey's going to go for one of his roles and his mother calls him up. She's like, Matthew, don't walk in there like you want the part. Walk in there like you own it. And I'm like, huh. I mean, that's a cliche that people say, but what does it mean to walk in there like you own it? Think about that. I don't know, if you're under 20, walk in there like you're some spoiled ass trust fund kid that's never worked a day in their life and their parents are always giving them everything they want. I'm not saying it's good to be there, but you walk in embodying that attitude, they're not going to give you shit. Walk in there like your dad owns the place. They're not going to give you crap. Like, literally, you can just get in because they assume, well, this kid's uber wealthy and probably owns the place. But you can get what you want and have really fun adventures. So, peace out and go enjoy your life.